way to learn isn't podcasting, isn't listening to audiobooks. It's not reading books. It's not lectures. It's not even masterclass videos. It's teaching, and actually doing the act is second to teaching people. Okay. So the act of doing, like getting in the field and learning, is very fast way to learn. Role playing is second, third, but first trumps all of them is teaching other people.
What up? Is that Nick Nascimento? What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Did I say that right? Am I even saying your last name correct? Can you say it for us real quick?
Nascimento.
All right. This is the Solar Pulse podcast with Josh and Joe. We got Nick Nascimento in the house with XSell coaching, and that's not Microsoft, right, Nick?
No, Microsoft's in the same building as me, but no, that's not Microsoft.
That's awesome. Love it, man. I love what you're doing. You know, I'm a follower of your social media, and I saw you doing big things. Golden Door, over 100 deals in Utah. Your training looks amazing. So I'm excited you got on here. So appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Joe. Glad to be here.
Have you met Josh King before? You know him at all?
I recognize Josh.
Recognize that's what everyone says. I recognize the beard. I've seen him somewhere. The beard. That's it. That's why I'm never shaving my beard, because I will have zero brand recognition the second that happens. One of the reasons. Good to meet you.
Looks good, dude. Looks good.
Yo, Nick, man. I know I've seen what you're doing lately and how you're crushing it, but I'm sure there's a little background, a little more of your story of how you got to what you're doing now. Would you mind just letting us and the audience know a little bit more of your background?
Dude, where do I start, Joe? Holy cow. Hold on, let me move my mic.
That's why you're on here, baby. Let's start from the beginning. Let's go.
Okay,
so you're born. No, just go.
So let me start with the sales journey for me. It started with a mission. I went to Brazil, served 2 years out there for the Church of Jesus Christ, and came back and wanted to do sales because I wanted to have, uncapped earning potential, as most of us do, but wanted to sell something I believed in. So I went to solar and did really well. Long story short, did solar. My first season there, in today's earnings, what we would have made, I would have made about $400,000 that first summer. I made about 70,000. So, but yeah, different world. And then I did that for 2 years while going to school, dropped out of school, started working at Aptiv doing pest control, did pretty well there. And, then built my own company in Southern Utah, built it up, sold it, got divorced. And that was obviously a rough thing for me because I had 3 kids, have 3 kids, 3 boys, and got into coaching. Awesome. And then doing. Thanks, man. Yeah, they're amazing. And got into coaching and personal development and sales coaching, and then doing solar sales part-time. So sold my whole company, everything. And I had this limiting belief at the time, dude, that, I had a lot of success in sales. I'm like, dude, I failed with my marriage. I failed in a lot of ways. I wasn't super healthy or fit. I wasn't, obese or anything, or I wasn't like fat, but I just wasn't healthy, And so there's this imbalance in my life. And I had the limiting belief, Joe, that I couldn't have the health, the relationships that I wanted, and then also success in business and in success in sales. And so I pulled back from my dreams, building businesses and becoming a sales leader. And then I met a mentor who I saw have everything that I thought was impossible to have. And that really changed and sparked a new journey for me. I'm like, I need to get proximity to this guy. I'll pay whatever it takes. And I paid a lot of money to get proximity to him. His name is Chris Crone. He runs, he's got equity in over 100 companies, net worth over 400 million now. Tony Robbins mentored him, super fit, works 4 days a week. I'm like, how's this guy doing this? I've been lied to. I've been lying to myself, And so I set out on the journey with him, got a lot of proximity with him on private jet rides. And that just changed my mindset with so many things, about life, work, and kind of got me on my own mission, my own purpose. And so here I'm now. The last couple of years have been big. So I think the audience will care more about what's happened, transpired since then. That was about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago that I met Chris Crone. Since then, I've gotten a lot of mentorship, spent over almost $250,000 this last year in mentorship, proximity, masterminds, courses, to just keep leveling up. I realized what Chris taught me. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much more I can learn. So anyways, I've been on that obsessive journey to try to become more valuable in my industry with solar, and then as a leader and as a business owner, as a future husband and a father, right? And as a, an athlete. So, yeah, that's kind of a gist. So since meeting Chris, I started doing solar. I was making $20,000 a month, part-time, dialed back to coaching. And I said, I'm going to go all in on the solar, and went from working 20 hours a week to 50, and went from making $20,000 a month to $200,000 a month in Utah,
Woo,
which a lot of people think is
go.
a tough market to sell. So, and yeah, did a couple things led to that. But then since then, last year, Chris told me, hey, keep this up. I became president of another solar company, about 130 people. And long story short, from there, want me to keep going with this? I'm almost done, Joe. You guys following me?
That's awesome, man.
Okay. From there, stepped down as president of that solar company after 6 months. Chris told me, Nick, go all in with your personal goals, hit your financial goals, hit your relationship goals, transform the relationships in your life, and then transform your health. I said, sir, yes, sir. Went all in, no question. Hired coaches with fitness, hired coaches, everything. And so last year I made just shy of $1 million. But more importantly, I did it while getting Golden Door and having my kids full-time as a single dad over the summer with my girlfriend, and met that amazing woman, and formed a lot of new amazing relationships in business and outside of business. So that was a cool feat for me, and then since then I've just tried to duplicate what I've done to try to help other people, find the financial success, but also get everything else out of life that they want. And what I've learned is you don't have to choose one or the other. They can amplify each other if you do it right. So since then I own Sparta Solar. Sparta Solar is on pace to do 20 million this year. XSell coaching, we're shooting for 7 figures this year, and launching an event similar to SolarCon, SalesCon. Yeah, lots of big stuff coming. So
I want to ask a question that a lot of people generally are afraid to ask. So I came from the church as well. And there's obviously a correlation of people that come from the church, and well, not 100%, but there's a lot of people, especially in Utah, that come from the church and excel in like door to door. Here's my thoughts on potentially why it happens. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is it's a stereotype, right? The industry. My thinking is that, obviously, you're literally door knocking. That's part of the gig sometimes when you come from the church. But there's another factor. It's like, you're brought up a majority of your life that you have something that's really valuable, you want it, and you're passionate about others also getting that thing. And so you're more experienced than the average person about approaching people and telling them about something that you care about. You know what I mean? And so when you get something like solar, which for me is a perfect product, you could use great sales tactics, but it's also very beneficial for them. That almost lines up in somehow with like that same thing you had when you're young, like, oh, this is really cool, I got to tell people about this. And so that sort of naturally just progresses you through the solar sales. What do you think?
I 100% agree. It's to summarize what you're saying, for me, it's conviction. There's confidence and conviction, and confidence is important, but conviction is senior to confidence. And conviction is like a self-worth thing. I've kind of built out this framework for sales training. Okay. You have all these sales training, like I love Jeremy Miner, but he says it's all closed, like it's all skill, and so it's not, because if I knock more doors than most guys, if I have a 40% close rate, someone else has a 60, I'll beat them. Right. And so it's skills, work ethic, and then efficiency. So effort, education, efficiencies, those are the 3 pillars. But those 3 pillars are built on a foundation of conviction, of personal development, who you are, the walking, talking billboard, people knowledge, and product knowledge. Okay. Those 3 things. And I think the conviction, we were sold on like the church and sharing that with other people. And it was this messenger mentality that we're not selling. And part of true salesmanship is not feeling like you are selling. I always say, you have conviction for your product if you would sell it and you didn't make a commission. So would you sell your product to your friends or family if they could qualify, if they own their home, right? And you do it without making a dime? That's how you know you're sold on something. And people have all these limiting beliefs. I can never do sales. I can't do that. Like, I'm just not a high pressure person. I'm on a mission to change that. That's, I think, complete dog shit. So I don't know if I can swear, but that is terrible. I hate it. But yeah, it's a limiting belief, because if you believe in something that can bless people, if you have the cure to cancer, you are an absolute asshole if you don't share that with other people. And if you have that kind of conviction, right? And this is what we learned, growing up in a certain faith. When you have that conviction, you don't get beat up, if people are shutting you down. You actually feel remorse and empathy for them. And empathy is a superpower when it comes to moving other people. And so, anyways, hopefully that helps explain that.
You're on mute, bro. You're on mute.
Unmuted. I always take that analogy about selling solar to your mom even further. I'm like, so people ask, but Josh, like, I know you're supposed to take 3 no's, and, I just don't want to seem pushy. And my response is always, well, you don't believe in solar enough. So the analogy I'll use is, okay, mom is beside you. You're at a swimming pool one day and you see her drowning. She's drowning in the pool. You say, Mom, grab my hand. I'm going to get you out of that pool. She says, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in your help. No. So you're telling me that you're just going to look at your mom drowning. You can rip her out of that pool and save her life, but you're going to not do that just because she says she's not interested? You don't love your mom. So if you're doing the same thing with your customer, you know that solar can change their life if done properly. They qualify. They're going to drop their power bill. They're going to be more dependent with their energy production. And they're saying, I don't know about that. Why wouldn't you just apply the exact same damn thing that you're doing with your mom? If you don't care about your customer and believe in your product, have conviction enough to push until you get to that point, then you don't care about it enough. I can't count how many times a customer, after me playing hardball with them, I get them installed, they see their decreased power bill and they say, Josh, thank you so much for dealing with us. I know we were a pain in the ass, but like no one has ever done this for us. I can't count how many times people have done that. And they always give the most referrals as well.
Dude, it's amazing, Josh, just to piggyback on what you're saying, brother. That first year that I blew up, not this last year, but the year prior, going from 20K to 200K a month, I put up this big poster on my wall. Okay. And it said total net worth change for my clients. And I don't look at just the 25-year savings from, high level real estate investors like Grant Cardone that I've got proximity with, Chris Crone. These guys think about money differently. And I'm like, holy hell, like this is the same game with solar, except the difference with real estate investing in solar is that the IRS is paying basically the down payment with these tax credits. You don't do that in real estate. And so you're offsetting a guaranteed expense with, something that you own, 100% interest to people are bitching about 6, 7, 8, 9% interest, high dealer fees. I'm like, dude, they're paying, $50K in dealer fees to the utility. If you look at it that way, it's just the lens you choose to look at it. But anyways, I made this list of all these homeowners that I sold. Okay. And I wrote down the home equity gain approximate. I wrote down the 25-year savings, and I wrote down the tax benefits from the state and the federal government. Those numbers, guys, in the state of Utah are lower than a lot of states, but they were still usually collectively over $65,000. So when people told me, Nick, I can't do this, or I don't want to do this, I don't have time. And I'm thinking on the high end, I'm making $12,000. On most of these deals, I'm making less than that, obviously. But I'm thinking, who's the bigger loser? Like if I make 6,000, they're making 60, right? Who's the bigger loser?
That's an interesting way to look at it, actually.
And it's one way to look at it like, hey, like I'm like it doesn't affect me, like I just move on. But it's another one, like I said, when you can see it through a lens of empathy and actually feel remorse for those people. And I learned this on my mission, call it selfless selling, where you look at prospects, you look at people, right? On your mission, like for missionaries, you look at a smoker and you see somebody that has changed their life, broken habits, and is baptized in a white robe. Like you have to envision that. And you can see them through. And it's that selflessness to be able to put yourself in their shoes and see that. And so many salespeople are just like you said, have commission breath, just want what's in it for them, And the secret to selling is tuning into WIFM. What's in it for me for your prospects? WIFM, right? And asking the right questions to lead them to sell themselves. And our product, we don't need to sell anything in solar. I actually tell, it's teach them the pain of their current situation. The greater the pain, the greater the desire for gain and change. We can have all the benefits, dude. I'll give you a $15,000 tax credit. Like, I'll give you $1,000 incentive to sign up. Not interested. Like, they show people like offering gold, like $50,000 things to people at the streets of New York, and people are like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
But people don't like change. They don't like anything. They feel like they're being sold. They've got their guard up. So you have to teach them the pain of their situation. Once they understand where they're at, why it's shitty, then sparks the desire to listen to you. So 80% of what I don't even call it selling. I teach them about the utility. I teach them inflation. Say, hey, look, if you want to argue, debate inflation, I'm out of here. I'm good. And if you want to debate me that renting is superior to owning when you own your damn house, we're good. I'm not offended. But so anyways,
what else could you
problem-centric selling?
Just really quick, since you're on the topic, what else can you let the audience know about Utah? Because to have a Golden Door Award winner, have over 100 deals in Utah, there's obviously, you're not just selling on the problem. There, any like tips, anything you're doing that's specific to Utah. Let's say somebody who wants to come to Utah and sell, like what thing should they know before they sell anything in Utah?
Yeah. So this is the other thing. So remember how I said those 3 levels of conviction? You have personal development, people knowledge, product knowledge. This is in the product knowledge, in industry specific knowledge is the capstone with that. And part of that is knowing all the utilities. So this is huge, Joe. There's different cities that have their own net metering policies. Okay. And then you have Rocky Mountain Powered, which is the main utility provider, okay, owned by Warren Buffett, for about 80% of Utah. But in some areas it's 50%. And so they all have their own regulations for permitting approvals. They all have the regulations for net metering, and it's very confusing. But guess what happens when the barrier to entry is greater and the perception is greater? You can win bigger in business, okay? Because fewer people get in. And so when I take the time to study the utility, study the city, understand it, there's riches in the niches. The same concept and principle applies to when you understand this one little city. I made $500,000, more than $500,000 in one city in Utah County. Okay. You guys can DM me if you want to know. So, but I have a system to do the same thing, 6 figures a month. I've got a playbook on it, on how to duplicate this anywhere. So
what's going on, guys? Just a quick break before we get back into the pod to tell you a bit about what we got going on for you, some resources for you. So first things first, Virtual Solar Club, the home of all things remote solar sales, the largest community of remote solar sales professionals in the universe. We got training for you. We got support. We got networking, community, lead sources, software, installation, infrastructure. We're a big group of people that sell solar remotely around the world. If you want to transition or to start selling solar remotely, get software, get all the resources you need to do so, you can use code SOLARPULSE on registration to get a bunch of discounts for you. We're here for you. We're ready to support you. Let's sell some solar remotely. What do you say? Joe, you got anything for us?
Oh yeah, SolarCon is right around the corner, and this is going to be our 3rd year, and we're looking at the most epic event ever, and it's going to be at the same place, same time, April 18th, 19th, and 20th in Salt Lake City at the Soul Palace Convention Center, and we're going to have Gary Vee headlining. We got Andy Elliott, Jeremy Miner, David Meltzer, and over 150 speakers and trainers training all aspects of the solar industry. And then the highlight of the event every year is our expo floor, where we're going to have the piano player to the presidents, lounges, activities, bars, and the best conversations you've ever had at a conference is with the feedback we get from everybody. So if you guys haven't signed up yet, get your tickets now. We have an extra discount for you guys, an extra 10% on top of the website has. Just go to attendsolarcon.com/virtual solar. Again, that's attendsolarcon.com/virtual solar, and you will get the biggest discount anybody has to offer. So if you guys don't know, now you know. Let's get back to the podcast.
The barrier to entry thing is so important. You mentioned earlier about the video of the guy trying to give people gold bars, that YouTube video. I use that all the time. There's also another one they did where, I don't know, it was gold bars, it was like chocolate or something. So the step one is you go to people and say, hey, do you want this chocolate randomly? And they're like, no, thanks. Step two is they're like, hey guys, if you do 10 jumping jacks for me in less than 20 seconds, I'll give you this chocolate. And they're like, all right, cool, let's try. Because there's a barrier to entry, so it minimizes the salesmanship and they feel they need to do something. And I think that's also really important for net metering, especially when it comes to like self-production. I always say sell solar as a tool as opposed to a magic button. And you're saying, hey man, I'm going to give you an amazing tool here, but you need to do something for me to make this work versus just, we're just going to install it and your power is going to be cheaper. It's the exact equivalent of getting people to have some sort of barrier to entry so they feel it's real versus just a California solar sales guy. Oh, an NEM 2.0 version. Oh, just install and you're good to go, right? And unfortunately, a majority of people are used to the magic button. Here, just take it, as opposed to putting people through an actual process that minimizes the salesiness of the process.
That's amazing, Josh. Couldn't agree more, bro. Love it.
That's like, so, I was just listening to something. Before that, I was just listening to something about, and it's made me think about solar, how solar is a medicine, right? And the way we pitch it, it should be like a medicine. And it's kind of like I saw, I don't know if you guys like Red Bull or not, the taste of Red Bull. But taste. I always hated it. I was like, why do people like Red Bull? And I realized it wasn't because people like the taste of it, or it's even smaller, right? And this is not me learning, like it's just me watching a video, but it's because of their marketing. It wasn't about, drink Red Bull because it tastes so good. It was like, Red Bull gives you wings, like it gives you the energy, and you drink it because it's a medicine that's going to give you energy. And that's why people are getting addicted to it, because that you get that placebo effect also. But for solar, instead of saying, hey, you want solar, it's more about that solving that problem, right? Making it a medicine. So the more like work they have to do, the more they feel like it's actual medicine as opposed to some scam. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Joe. Well, I mean, you think of it, doctors spend like over a decade in college. They kind of know their craft, right? And they know how to diagnose problems. And when you go to the doctor, you're sick, you got an issue. What do? Are they telling you what to do? They're asking you questions.
Yes.
Yep. They're letting you describe what's going on and pretty much self-diagnose. And so they're just tailoring and guiding, and master teachers, master communicators do the same thing, storytelling, asking questions, guiding them and diagnosing the problem and helping them through asking the questions.
100% agreed. Obviously your sales training is top notch. How long have you actually been training itself? Because I know you mixed it in. Is that newer, or have you been doing that since you've been selling?
So the last decade I've been doing it since nearly day one, because I've always done well. And
makes sense.
So and to add to that real quick, I'll just chime in on that comment. I've always done well. People make they have a misunderstanding that, hey, they're born that way. Oh wow, he's just got the gift of gab. He's just lights out, motivated, enthusiastic. Dude, I wasn't born that way. That's foolish to say that. If it's just the ability to reverse engineer any trait. What does enthusiasm look like? What is being good at building rapport look like? I ask questions. I grade people by their name. I look at them in the eyes. I get them talking about themselves, right? So that's a skill when you can break it down to certain things that you can work on and improve. So, sorry, Joe, what were you asking about though? I lost my train of thought with where you're going with that.
No, it's just about your experience, being actually
training,
a sales trainer, and not just selling at a high rate, which is to me, not easy to balance it too, because the more you teach, well, you could tell me, how do you balance the two of being a top trainer and also selling at a high rate?
Well, here, it's selfish. So there's something called the protege effect. I've made a video about this. The protege effect is when the fastest way to learn isn't podcasting, isn't listening to audiobooks, it's not reading books, it's not lectures, it's not even masterclass videos. It's teaching, and actually doing the act is second to teaching people. Okay, So the act of doing, like getting in the field and learning, is very fast way to learn. Role playing is second, third, but first trumps all of them is teaching other people. So I see it as a selfish thing. I'm helping other people, but it gives me kind of a fire under my ass to keep my purpose going, keep me alive, and to add value and help recreate what I've seen. But the selfish benefit is you learn how to master principles. You understand your blind spots when you are able to teach them. And the simpler you can teach and communicate, the better you understand something. So does that help answer that, Joe?
Oh yeah, appreciate it.
That's the next thing I was going to say is, have you found that your personal sales ability has increased since you started training? Because for me, what I train now and what I do now and the script we have and the processes now, I look at that. I look at what I was doing even just 4 or 5 years ago in solar sales, and I'm like, God, what was I doing? And yeah, it has been from continuing to sell here and there, but vast majority of it is just constantly training, constantly seeing what's working with other people, constantly having to simplify the concept for my audience, for my students. And now, I'm sure I'll look back in 5 years and still, say the same thing at what I'm doing now. Hopefully I keep learning. But now it's like, my God, the simplification and the efficiency of everything that I personally do and what I teach and what I have other people doing is just miles better than when I was the top full-time solar sales rep of all time, back in the day. So it's, I 100% agree. But there is a bit of a chasm when people, he's just training it. But I think it's a unique experience because very, very few people are good trainers. And many very good sales guys, actually, they have difficulty training. But as soon as you actually step into that role, it's like, holy shit, I'm getting so much better. All the data that's coming my way. Yeah, 100%.
Training, dude, coaching is another level. It's coaching is remarkable because you get to break down further the mindset, right? And the limiting beliefs that people have. And it's ironic, people pay me $1,000 per call for coaching. And I swear I get just as much value from coaching them as they do from me. It's a really cool thing.
So the way I see it is, you just have the ability to throw out a strategy that works, and have you're multiplying yourself, right? It's just a data hack. Yeah, especially if you have a team. So I'll consult for large teams. And every single team I consult is just better and better because I'm seeing what's working, what's not working. And what's working, what worked 6-7 years ago might not work today. And so you're on the front line even more so than if you're an individual full-time sales rep. You have so many people trying the things that you are teaching, and you see exactly what really works and what things that I've thought of stuff that I was using for years and years and years. But then I realized one day, wait, why do we even say that? And I just cut it out completely. And you just get closer and closer to the fundamental thing that works at a lot quicker rate because you have so many people trying things out. So it's just, that's how I see it. It's a hack.
It is a hack, man. Yeah, that's huge.
There's sales training where you train it and then you're going to learn, but there's also a sales training where you actually listen and you learn from the sales trainer. And Nick, so who's your sales trainers you're learning from? Obviously I know Jeremy Miner. I don't know if that's he's one of your people you're getting your sales training from. I know you said over $250,000 in mentorship. I would love to hear a little bit of who's you're getting your training from and where you're spending your money.
It's actually not sales, not Jeremy Miner. I just work with him. We're collaborating together to do stuff. And I respect his stuff a lot. That's why I'm working with him. But people I've gotten paid money for, Chris Crone, Grant Cardone, not his sales training. I actually think his sales training is abysmal. His salespeople are absolutely horrendous. But masterminds for high level business stuff. Russell Brunson, I'm in his mastermind. So that's a lot of it. Zane Jan, Solar CEOs. I'm in his mastermind. So yeah.
That's great, Josh. So you're waiting for your.
I was laughing at Grant Cardone. So wait, did you see the Grant Cardone Jordan Belfort podcast?
Oh, dude, it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I think
the ego, the ego.
I think Jordan Belfort is a real hardcore sales guy. Now, I don't. Is he the best sales trainer in the world? Maybe not, but
He's
man,
good.
that interview was eye-opening because Jordan Belfort is talking about some actual real-life strategies, and
Yeah.
Cardone
Cardone's
was,
just talking. Cardone's just talking ego. That's the only thing he was talking on that podcast was ego.
yeah.
Sell everybody.
I'm sure Belfort has ego as well, but he was
yeah.
on the front line for a very, very real long time. So
Yeah.
I think he's got some valuable stuff. Have you been through his straight line? Is that what it's
Straight
called?
line selling. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Any good?
It's good. It's very good. Yeah.
Okay.
Straight line selling is phenomenal. Yeah.
How about you, Nick? Like, what do you like training on the most? What is your like favorite? Is it newer people? Is it advanced stuff? Anything specific?
I like taking people past 100K a month. So I love building leaders. So my vision is, dude, I ping all these high level entrepreneurs, people between net worth of, Michael O'Donnell was another guy I got proximity with as well.
Yeah.
But there's a correlation I've noticed with guys in our industry. There's a lot of studs in our industry, but I've gone to people that are at a different level. And I've realized, hey, I had very little sales training when I came in and did solar, and I outperformed their existing reps. If a company doing 400 million, I was number one with almost no experience. And they had me convinced it was the area that I'd knocked. They were all convinced it was the area. There's no way it's Nick. And I've come to learn, obviously it wasn't the area after years, but it was, how was I so good when my product knowledge was decent, right? My people knowledge was decent. I had no sales experience, just mission, but it was the personal development, the character I'd built, and who I'd become over the previous 21 and a half, 22 years prior to that, right? And so, Joe, ask me your question one more time. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It was really about what do you enjoy training the most? And you mentioned that you like to take people from 100,000.
Yes, but teaching them personal development, that pillar, that foundation to it. Tony Robbins says the greatest salespeople are not trained, they're found. Tony knows his shit. Why does one of the greatest business leaders of our time say that the greatest salespeople are not trained? Then what the hell are these sales trainers doing, right? Mm-hmm. It's because they have to become through personal development who they are. The walking, talking billboard, as I said, right? And so my passion is taking these high level things I've learned from these people operating at a different level, managing their time, delegating, right? To optimize their life and take their business, their sales to a different level. Sales is entrepreneurship, right? Very similar to entrepreneurship. And these high level entrepreneurs are playing a game differently than how salespeople play it. They manage their time differently. I saw Chris run, have over 100 companies he's playing with, $2 billion in real estate, and he's working like 4.5 days a week. And I'm like, how's he doing this? Different principles. I love teaching those things for salespeople on how to run and operate differently. Okay. And how to communicate differently. And when you become and you're growing at that level, you have a different level of influence. Your ability to communicate, win people over, your understanding how to manage time. I'll go out. I work, for example, 2 hours a night on doing deals, and I'm making $100,000 a month while running 2 businesses, a podcast, and having 3 kids. And it's because I've mastered the efficiencies in the game I've learned from very, very, very successful people and taken those and applied it. So I love sharing that and helping people become better in sales without using tactics. So my mantra is teaching transformation, not tactics.
Bro, you're obviously
that's
doing
one of the most. That's one of the most fulfilling things for me. I call it the starry-eyed moment. So when you unlock someone's potential and you see the look in their eyes. I remember the first time this happened to me 10 years ago. I was in the office, and at the beginning of the morning, the door team's out, and I would jump in, just get on the phones and like check cancellations for appointments and whatnot. And so some people would call in like right at 9 a.m. And I was training this new guy to take calls. So he wasn't a sales guy. He was sort of customer service, but I was given some sales tactics to also handle calls. 9 a.m. came, called. I picked up the phone. He's right beside me. The lady wants to cancel her appointment, right? Put it on speaker just so we could hear. gave some very basic objections, very, very, very basic, right? So just follow up, okay, ABC, yeah, all sound good, Mary? We're still going to see you at 4 p.m. today? Oh, yeah, okay, fantastic, have a good one. I didn't even think about it much because it wasn't that difficult of a call. But this guy just looked at me right beside me, and he's like Jordan, the Wolf of Wall Street moment. He's like, how the fuck is that? And you see the look in their eyes. And you see it the first time someone closes a deal and makes 5-10 commission.
Yeah.
And then you see it the first time you pay out 5-figure or 6-figure fucking settlement to them. And they're like, I was working at Starbucks before this. How the fuck am I here? And that is something. So I think some people can unlock themselves by themselves, but very rarely. They have to be in an environment. They have to see things. They have to have the right mentorship. And then obviously some people just not fit for it. I think so.
Josh, I wasn't one of those people that could unlock it for myself. I had to have a mentor, right? And there's power in proximity. Sometimes just getting around those people, and the real big dogs, I've learned you got to pay to get around. But when you get around them, hence masterminds, things like that, you operate, you become the average of them, and it helps you unlock exactly what you're talking about, having those I call it breakthrough. It's a game changer, right?
You see the same in athletics. Well, you said are you gymming or in a specific sport?
No, just athlete. I've got a goal to be sub 10% body fat. I'm getting close, and then be over 210 pounds muscle. I was 178 pounds, 18% body fat. So just want to look like Superman.
I played a ton of basketball when I was younger, and what I realized is you have the gym and the two sides of the court, and you can go to lunch and you can either play with the kids your age or you can go to the seniors and play with them, right? You're not going to get as much play time, but when I was in grade 9 or 10, I was invited to play for the seniors on their team. So I started playing on their side of the court, and I was mid-range, and people were just fucking destroying me. Within like 6 months, I was the best in the entire school, just by being around people that were flooring me day in, day out. Because when I was on the other side of the gym, I was tall for my age. I was a really good shooter. It's not difficult for me. The second I went to the other side of the gym, my mind went, holy shit, I'm fucking horrible. I have to get better. And just by being in that environment, something turned and switched on. So I 100% agree.
This is a thing too, like high level salespeople, once you get to the point where for most, when they're making 50,000 a month in our industry, they're already the cream of the crop. They're at the top of their company, their team, and you plateau. If you become the top, the biggest fish, there's no more growing. And so you've got to take yourself out of that pond and go put yourself in the ocean with the big boys. And that's what I'm saying is those guys are in different ball games usually. Right. And so why do I go to people like Russell Brunson? Because he's the best marketer on the planet, and marketing is senior to sales. And I've had that humbling lesson. I'm learning that right now. And so anyways, but when you learn these things, it starts to unlock different things in your mind of what's possible for you. And so if you're around everybody else that you're already the top, you're the baddest dude, to some people, you're a chump. And so you need to go be in those rooms where they look at you like a chump. So.
Well, okay, let's take that sales rep who's the top of his team, top of the company. Where does he go?
So the first thing he does is stop putting money into investments. It's great. So this is what Chris taught me. He's like, there's single digit ROI, double digit, triple digit, quadruple digit. Okay. And this applies to solar because it's an investment. Single digits, your Roth IRAs, stocks. Okay. Sometimes those can hit double digit. Real estate's a great double digit game, foolproof. Most millionaires in America obviously made through real estate. Okay, good real estate, 25% ROI. So you'll have earned your money back in 4 years. Triple digit are franchises, high barrier to entry. Quadruple digit is like 1,000% plus. It's insane. It's the game like Alex Hormozi's playing. It's the game Tony Robbins played. It's the game Jim Rohn played. It's personal development. It's an investment in yourself. If you're wondering why did I spend so much money, I'm telling you, it's one thing that I spent $250,000 in personal development. I spent $210,000, but it's another to say this next year I'm going to spend $500,000. So I'm seeing it work, right? And so I would tell them, go invest, go grow, go get proximity with other people. That doesn't mean just go buy a bunch of courses. That's not the thing. Be very intentional. What skills am I lacking? What traits am I lacking? What areas of my life are lacking? How can I improve? You start by asking better questions, asking yourself better questions. How can I improve? I'm making $500,000 a year. Congratulations. How can you do that, but also change your health? How can you do that, but also improve the relationships in your life? Because what Chris taught me is if I empower those things, I become a more attractive human. And now I've attracted people making, one guy has an $8 million roofing company that's working with me now. Absolute stud. And it's because people are attracted to working with people that have things that they want that they don't have, whether it be money, health, relationships. Those are usually the big three. And so I would tell those people, level up and take more of your cash and put it into you. If you're so good, you should already believe in yourself. There's more to you, more for you. Now, if you're a piece of crap and you have terrible morals and like you're a bad person, then please don't do this. Don't listen to my advice. But if you're a good person, you believe in yourself, you have a great story, and you feel like you're called to do more, this is your next thing, right? Get out of your comfort zone.
Speaking of balancing different things, you're talking about being a family man and selling and podcasting. I also know it's a big part of what you're doing with social media. I see you on TikTok and I see you on Instagram, and the more that I follow you, the more I've seen you other places. And it looks like you're blowing up, man. You're doing really well on there. Is that something that you're like fully focused in, or is it like a side thing that's kind of like, it's cool to have, or is that part of what your whole game plan?
Oh, it's part of the game plan. So again, you see, success leaves clues with higher level people. And I do feel like I have a bigger calling, Joe, and to serve and to change the way salespeople see themselves and the way the world sees salespeople. And to empower other people with my story. I was an absolute loser, divorced and train wreck. And the beauty of that was seeing that, hey, I could inspire other people. So my thing is selfish of wanting to inspire other people that are also low and feel like there's more to them, and that they can communicate and win people over, make more money, become a better salesman, entrepreneur, and not have to sacrifice other parts of their life. Message to Jordan Belfort, Grant Cardone, Andy, all you guys. Andy is a stud, but that's what I'm setting out to do. The future of business is personal brand. Look at Elon Musk, look at all the guys, right? Personal brand, eyeballs and attention is the new oil. So podcasting, all that, it's very wise to do it, right? I'm podcasting with Chris Crone next week. I'll likely be podcasting with Todd Peterson in the next month. And
Nice.
It's a level to get, it's an amazing way to level up with bigger people. But the social media for me is a 9-figure play. My coaching business is an 8 to 9-figure play. And then my solar right now is just a easy 7-figure play. And so I'm playing all, but the social media, I don't just do it every single day. I've studied how these guys do it, and I time block, usually 2 to 4 hours on a Monday, and I batch record, and then I delegate, hire everything out to other people. And this is, I think, a lesson a lot of people need to learn that I've learned from these other guys is the power of delegation and hiring out. Like I've done the math, dude. I made this playbook to help teach people how much you make in your industry.
What does that
sales.
say?
And I make, it's a 100K month sales playbook.
Nice.
What's that?
Nice. I didn't see that. It's great.
Did you say cute?
That's a nice.
Oh, okay. So part of what I do there is help reverse engineer how much you're making per no, not just per no, but how much you make per hour. Chris, my mentor, was obsessed on this, and anything under his, 10,000 per hour, he delegated. And so I'm like, okay, what's my earnings per hour? And when we're selling solar, Joe, most of us are over 200 an hour. So mine is a little over 1,000 an hour. And so that's why I charge $1,000 for a coaching call, right? And anything else under 500 an hour, which is most things, I delegate. So my meal prep, my door dashing, I don't do my laundry, cleaning my car, detailing my car, everything. It's all delegated. Social media, delegated. Everything I do, delegated. That's not using my superpower, right?
I mean, that sounds, great, and everybody would want to do that. Is that how you started out, and you're just able to get everything delegated from the beginning, or is there a transition where you start with your cell phone and you're smiling?
Oh, for the social media side or what?
Yeah, social media. Just because people are watching, they see what you're doing, they want to do it. They want to be like, I want to do that. Is it like, all right, you need to start day one, hire everybody, delegate it, and get going, or is it like, is there a slow transition period?
It depends. It depends on your income. If you make over $250,000, yes, you should delegate pretty aggressively. And what I do is I have an assistant that does social media for me. but they also do other tasks. So we live in a world where it's very easy to hire people, remote, but I prefer in-house to build a culture. But yeah, you can hire an assistant. So this goes outside of social media, Joe. The first step in like making over $500,000 is buying your time back so you can get in front of more people. Like if we're all making 500 and like 200 an hour doing solar, like on the low end, like where's the time going? Because if you do that times 40 hours a week, that's a lot more than $200,000, I'm pretty sure. So why is only a fraction of your time going towards that? It's because you're spending time doing monotonous things somebody else could be doing. Because this isn't like petty stuff. I'm telling you, like this is the stuff when I had, almost billionaire on his private jet. He's like, got him pinned down, asking him questions. He's like, this is the game. This is the game of delegation time. And it's you got to ask more questions. Is this the highest and best use of my time? And it's not just yes or no. It's yes, no, or yes, but not now, or yes, but delegate. And so you can start doing this, not even when you're making $250,000 a year. The moment you make, you start making $40,000 a month, dude, go put that money away. That part of that personal development is buying your time back. So I tell all my guys that when I cut them a check, 20% goes to you, your personal development, and 20% goes to assets that cash flow, like real estate. Right? I'm helping build their worth, their net worth. Their self-worth and net worth. But yeah, you can start anywhere, Joe. But just, I think identifying the only thing stopping us is time and skills. And the only thing stopping you from getting skills is time or money. And so the thing I've learned is put the money to acquire the skills and buy your time back so you can get more done faster.
A lot of people look at social media as like a long-term game. Anything that has helped you, like you said, without social media, I've never been able to do this. Anything that sticks out to you?
It's me understanding my story and finding your voice, right? Part of the greatest, they say the highest frequency that attracts people is when we vibrate by living authentically. And when you get yourself out on social media, it's uncomfortable. Like some people say, oh, I don't like to get on camera. No shit. Nobody does. Like
Exactly.
Nobody does. Like, but you gotta, it's a good challenge for yourself to do that, but you find your voice. What I mean by that is, if I were to ask some people like, dude, what are you insanely passionate about? Like what's your message to the world when you die? Stephen R. Covey talks about this. Like, what are people saying at your funeral? I don't know. But when you start doing on social media, you start making posts, you start finding that voice. You see what resonates with people, you see what pisses people off. And the thing I've learned too is you've got to not worry about pissing people off, not being a yes man. That's a leader thing and a social media thing. But
you're talking about content being the currency of the future or the present. 100% agree. Have you sort of workshopped in your brain where that can go though? Because I like, whenever I love these interesting concepts or innovative different things happening, I always go to, what is the extreme version of that? For example, let's take solar as an industry, homeowner facing content. I believe that you're 100% right in terms of it being the currency and the attention of the future, but I think it's going to be much more extreme than we think. I think that sales reps, especially what's happening with cold calling right now and TCP regulations and blah, 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 everyone needs to really start paying attention to content creation for their end, like a homeowner in solar, to the extent that, here's my thought experiment. If you could snap your fingers right now and have, let's just say 10,000 or 100,000 followers, homeowners in the US that have been binge watching your content about homeowner stuff, energy efficiency, saving on their power bill, and you were a solar sales guy, that is the hottest lead you'll ever get in your life. You cannot generate a lead on Facebook that's hotter than that.
You don't have to sell it.
That asset is worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I don't think in the future, and this could be next year, this could be 5 years, 10 years, I don't think solar companies or any company is going to be hiring sales reps. I think they're going to be hiring sales influencers. Because why do people hire sales reps? It's for the lead flow, but these guys can snap their fingers, have a homeowner that will buy right away, and they'll get sign-on bonuses. You know, here's $100,000 if you jump on our team and start putting deals through us. Like that's where I think it's headed very soon.
I'd agree. I would say not in the next year or two. I think you're on something, Josh. I really do. You know, the principle is marketing is senior to sales, and this is an example of it. I had, you know, what you're telling me right here is spot on. I had a guy hop on a call with me today. He's like, dude, I would have paid you $30,000 for everything. Like, what he didn't even we didn't even coach him on anything, didn't talk to him. He was already sold because of what he's seen. Right? That's the power of marketing. But he's followed me for years.
Yeah.
And so he's seen the growth and he's bought in from that. That's the power of marketing, but that takes a long time to build. And it's the brand. And so only the companies that have a very strong brand will be able to have that kind of a power where they won't need reps. For example, Tesla, right? A very strong brand, and it stems from who? Elon, personal, right? And so the game is going to go from door to door to virtual to more of a marketing, and the virtual is marketing, right? It's ads. You pay for the eyeballs, or you do organic content, or word of mouth, or direct hard outreach. Those are 4 methods of generating leads, right? And our industry is a lot of just, you know, take the bull by the reins, you know, and go generate, door knock, and that's great. It works. Trust me, I do it. But it's shifting, I believe, over the next 3 to 5 years to mostly virtual. And but the game is going to be, how well can you build brands around that? I think that's going to be a thing, Josh. But it's going to be, if there's a titan, there's going to have to be like an absolute titan of a solar company with a just completely different brand. But here's the thing too. The reason Elon can do this with cars is because his car is different. It's different. It's not seen as the same. And so what sells is not like the actual value difference, right? It's perception, the perceived value. And the solar industry is one of the most commoditized industries in the world, but it's phenomenal. It doesn't mean it's a bad industry. But what I mean by commoditized is it's just like there's everybody competing on red lines and prices and everything. And, you know, hey, we do it this way, and it's all very similar. And so this is why I'm so big on culture and doing things differently, is because it attracts different people, and I'm not playing the game of commoditization. So that's the one thing I is the red ocean of the solar industry. But with that, what I do love to kind of counteract that is what I do love about this industry is, you know, we're all like, there's so much synergy with us sharing and uplifting each other. It's because I feel like the common enemy isn't each other. It's the damn utility companies, you know, and we're all so bought in. All the leaders in the industry are so bought in on, you know, like this is like, we're getting people off this damn monopoly where they're just making them rich. And so I think that's a really cool thing about our industry.
Yeah. Do you think, so, you know, I've been talking about that content creation with my guys for a while now. Do you think those of us that are in the training space in a year or two, I definitely see myself doing this, in a year or two, we'll start having a heavy focus on training people on how to create content. The issue, however, is it's difficult. And when I now mention creating content, that it might be a good idea, I have a few guys now and they're posting consistently. I have one guy, he posts a few times a week on TikTok about energy saving. He's starting to get like 700-800 views a video. He's only been doing it for a few weeks. When I tell the older guys that, guys that aren't like 21, 22 years old, they look at me and their eyes roll, because the stigma about content creation is just, oh, you want me to dance on TikTok or be an influencer? Fuck that. And their negative perception of the content creation game attached to just being, you know, lame is so far away from, this is actually a really good sales strategy right now. So I see a big hurdle ahead for anybody who can't change their frame of mind about the content creation game. And they're just going to be stuck with legacy strategies for a really, really long time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. You know, it's work smarter, work harder. I like that a lot, Josh. Now, again, the one thing I'll say is the direct sales and the virtual and phone sales is still very strong and will be for a very foreseeable future. The only reason salespeople get, I think about this all the time, the reason AI or marketing takes over salespeople, again, is the brand in the marketing is so impeccable. Okay, it takes a lot. And if people still have confusion with the industry or questions, they'll shop, which means if they're shopping, there's salespeople involved. So, but 100% agree with you saying. And one more thing I'll piggyback on that is the solar industry, as we know, is getting regulated as it should, and very similar to real estate. And so look at how real estate agents are growing. Some of them still do door knock. It does work. Podcasting with a guy on next Monday, that's crushing it in real estate, making over $500,000 door knocking. And but a lot of them as well. I spoke to a group of about 30 women who are real estate agents, and a lot of them are doing social media. And I do think we'll see this more and more within the solar industry, and just personal brands and marketing it that way. You do have a distinct edge too when you show them your page. Like for me, my prospects, I don't mind if they see my page, but it's like, whoa, who is this guy? But if all your content is like teaching about your product, that's a massive edge.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I think there's very few people who understand how hot of a lead someone can come from binge watching your YouTube channel. Like when I started getting that a few years ago, people would say, dude, I've been following you for 6 months. I've already started closing double the amount of deals from you. I already know I'm in. I just wanted to have a chat with one of your guys first. That, I never thought that a lead like that was possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why my mind goes to, if I could just rub a lamp and have a genie and make a wish that I'd have 100,000 homeowner followers right now with that type of intent. My God, I can't think of a more valuable asset. It's wild,
Yeah,
and so for me, I'm like, that's why I'm really trying to get it out there, and I'm trying to come up with a plan for us to do it as well, because that's worth putting in the next 2, 3, 4 years to build. Like if there's anything in solar or in any industry, that's it, man. That asset is wildly valuable.
That is. I think you're gonna have to pick your top, very top reps, and then they're gonna kind of want to feel called. I think creating a system for everyone will be very tough, because the level of failure and inputs and learning and effort it takes to succeed at social media. And I fail more than I win in social media, just so you guys know. And so I'm far from like succeeding, and I put in massive effort, but obviously I could still improve. And so I'm just saying, they've got to be really, really bought in to be able to stick with it, not quit. Because it is going to take to refine and compete for the eyeballs. They're going to have to become really good. And it's no matter how attractive your personality is, how smart, how funny you are. It takes a lot of brains to do well. It's not just something you get lucky with.
The issue I've been thinking about this for a long time. For the past 6 months is anything I think about. The core issue is a vast majority of people are not willing to put time, energy, and money into something unless they see a result within a few weeks. There's a very small percentage of us that are like, I'll devote my next 2 years. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to build it. Yep. And so I think we've solved that with a really interesting, creative. I'm not going to give the secret sauce, but I'm going to try it, see if it works. But it is, I'm so excited about this model, because imagine you had something and now you give them a system to just make content for free, and they start getting results immediately, like some sort of results, some sort of, little dopaminergic hit to keep them going to the next week to keep posting. I'm excited for it. I'm super excited.
Dude, I'm excited for that too.
We got Nick Nascimento with XSell Coaching on the Solar Pulse podcast. Nick, just really quick before you go, you talk about the podcast, and I'm really interested in it. Can you just tell the audience a little bit more about it and what guests you're going to be having in the next months after SolarCon?
Yeah. So the podcast is Rainmakers Podcast. Rainmakers Podcast, the Rainmakers Podcast, and it's everything sales, entrepreneurship, personal development. And it's a lot of stuff we've been talking about. I like to interview people that have made over $500,000. I really kind of hone in on people that have a good life outside of just sales. And I also will pull in every now and then like very high level business people like Chris Crone, Todd Peterson, Jeremy Miner. And I will continue to pull on people like that. So just to unpack their brain of reverse engineering to success. I do pride myself in being pretty good at asking questions. But although this is still something I'm getting better, and I'm excited to listen to podcasts I do, 7 years from now, and just laugh at the podcast I run now. Like, wow, I was an idiot, But the Rainmakers Podcast, and you guys can follow the YouTube page, Nick in Sales, and then the same page for my Instagram and everything. So.
Hell yeah, man. Really appreciate you being on. You dropped some nuggets and really, really excited to have you on in the future too. But anything else, Josh?
Good stuff, man. Good conversation. I love it. Keep rocking.
Thank you,
Man,
guys.
you're an all-star,
Likewise,
bro.
thank you
Keep
guys.
killing it. Later, Nick.
Likewise.
Have a good
Thank
one,
you,
mate.
Doug. See you guys in
See
about
ya.
a month.
All
A little less than a month.
Yeah. Peace.